Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's class and the first day of November 2025. So many of us have been on this journey since January, and others have joined along the way. So just to make a brief comment on the last 15 minutes of last Saturday's class. So we started discussing the issue of the text I posted on the group, letters from Elena, and people were making various comments. And I said, everyone is right. Every person is correct. Now, it's funny in this game of life that really you cannot be wrong in the issues of your own life, except that when you have decided on what you would do, you would have to eat the fruit of it. For all of us, no exception. You will have to eat the fruit of it. So sometimes the fruit doesn't taste well in our mouth. It doesn't taste well. So I posted something from Heidegger, and which I copied from The Last Word on Power, Tracy Goss. It's talking about declaring. So you are declaring, you are the space. Your being is the space that determines who can come into your life, what they can do and what they cannot do. It's so, for me, as we are drawing towards the close of this weekly being session, it shows me enormous responsibility. Who we are being, it shows me a lot of responsibility that is ours. Even what we think that others cost us, that look, we are the one that designed what we are experiencing. So we are the one that designed it. So when it says we are declaring, we are the space. If you are a manager in the company, your being determines what the people reporting to you can bring to you. What your being, who you are being, determines problems they can bring to you. And if your being is such that they hide problems, you have to correct, you have to look for a way to shift that being. If now the way I really look at it, the friends we have, the kind of friends. Now, as I was reading a bit of Heidegger's clearing on Tracy Goss, I looked at some of my friends and how we attract different kinds of people into our lives. The reason we attract different kinds of persons is who we are being. Now, if we don't like what we are attracting, the place to go to is who we are being. The place to go to see that we attract a different kind, we attract different kinds of persons, is to go to our being. The same thing with our results. If we are not getting the results that we want, the place to go to is who we are being. Back to Dr. Reverend Sam Adeyemi's book, Success is Who You Are. Now, everything is actually who you are. Back to what we studied on March 1, being the cause of everything. Now, as I was reading yesterday, the article for today on being God, I said it is really enormous that what our being can bring us or repel is a lot. And we may blame the nation, we may blame the government, we may blame the environment, we may blame anybody, we may blame devils, angels, all of them. But the principal place to go is who we are being. But more often than not, that is the place that we will not go. We are unaware that the world that we are describing exists for only us and from our being. It does not exist for another person. So when I get calls about how difficult Nigeria is, so sometimes I respond to the persons and I said, well, so and so just bought a new jet. So and so just bought a new helicopter. So and so just bought. So now, is it in the same economy? The answer is yes. But I was talking to somebody, okay, who I had a phone call from the US on Thursday, and we're having a conversation about an annual gathering of an alumni we are about hosting. So the president is in Harvard University. So it was trying to say, oh, why does Nigeria do this? I said, no, the US where you are is the same thing. It's not different. There is nothing unique about Nigeria on this subject. There is nothing unique. Now, it's always what we are seeing is from who we are being. It's not from anything else. And if we don't like what we are seeing, it is not go to Buhari or go to Trump. It is go to who we are being. Okay, so that's just by way of introduction. And before we go into today's topic, I want to open the space for anybody who wants to share any experience of their application of what we have been learning and how you have used it in any context of life. So just to edify the rest of us, and maybe we'll learn one or two things and we'll be able to also deploy it. So we are coming, this is 1st of November now. Happy New Month, by the way. So we want to just see, I mean, how is this thing affecting who has used it in the last couple of weeks, days? I mean, how is the knowledge or the awareness of who you are being and what is possible? In what area of your life have you deployed this awareness in the last weeks, months, whatever? So the floor is open. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Harriet.
Yeah, so for me, the class has been such a huge benefit to me because I see myself applying what we have learned even in office environments. You know, recently work has been really kind of hectic because some people, you know, are on leave and from leave, called in for longer sick leave. So, you know, so there has been a lot of like complaint up and down. But me, instead of taking it as, you know, um as if to say, you know, these and one time I started with saying that these Indians, so now somebody want to remove teeth. He said is in India is going to remove his teeth. His tooth has toothache from UK, flew to India. From there, brought sick note to extend it outside of the normal leave that he had applied. Another one went again to two of them in India. That one also extended. So work has been really, on the hectic side. But I just remember that it is how I see it that it will be. You understand? If I continue to see that they have started again, it will continue to bring anger and annoyance in my heart. So I just decided to roll on myself, do what I can do my best, to see how we can cover up the space and also be able to meet up with the with the huge task that is ahead of us, month end things that we needed to do and everything. But if it was before I mentioned these Indians and we address it in this class, it would have been a different thing. I would have been more angry, but I didn't take it for that. I just said, well, some of the things that I was not even doing before that they pushed to me, I just said, okay, this one will be an additional learning ground for me. Let me just push my head into it and do it instead of complaining. So it's all from what I have, learned from the class. And again, one of the articles that we looked at this week talked about, language, words, what you say, what you talk, matters a lot. You understand? So it's something that I try to practice a lot, now, these days, that even if I see whatever is not good, not um positive, I don't just go confessing it. Just like, you mentioned this thing about, oh, Nigeria is hard, Nigeria is hard. You understand? There's this guy that sometimes they put on the telly in our house to listen to him, Mayegu. He's always complaining about things in Nigeria. And once Mayegu's diary is on, you will just be hearing Franny, Kai, Nigeria, 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 Nigeria. Will not hear word again. You understand? So I've made up my mind to just turn a blind eye to that Mayegu because it's just one big television in the sitting room. So I cannot even, when somebody else is watching it. So I'll just stroll away. You understand? Because how you see it, how you talk, you understand, is the way it will start. What the Bible says, faith coming by hearing and hearing and hearing the word. So once you hear it, you open your listening ears to be hearing. It will finally begin to come out of your mouth to now start confessing. Meanwhile, in that same Nigeria, that is where you see people that are very rich. They don't even pay tax. They don't pay the kind of tax that they are supposed to pay. All you know, we are running up and down, paying every money we are earning here for tax. There are some people that are just getting away and enjoying life and traveling everywhere. Yet we are looking at the picture they are showing us. Mayegu is showing us people are suffering, and that's the one that not cover our whole head. You understand? So what we are learning here is very key. The power of the words is very, very important, and it is what you have in you that you will voice out. You understand? If you don't allow all those things to enter into you, you will not be voicing out negativity. So we need to guide our our gateways very well, so that we'll be able to speak the positive things. Say we are the ones that create our environment. When God wanted to create the world, He said, "Let there be light." He spoke things into being, and the thing happened. As I say, everything doesn't have a meaning until you speak it, until you say what you want, until you create it. So thank you very much. Let's leave it for people. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, who else has any experience in the application of what we are learning here? I mean, so how you have used it in your day-to-day life.
Yes, let me just speak before. Good morning, Coach.
Good
Yeah,
morning, Harold.
yeah. Good morning, everybody. Let me just quick before I start uh, getting busy. All right. So me, I think it has to do with this executive reinvention, that and has to do with context. You know that you live in context. So in other words, you don't have to keep quiet. You need to speak out. Okay, you need to speak out. So this year they talked about Black history, and that the and this month is a month of Black history, so people should um, get involved. And formally, I have never done that out in the world. This time around, since the state context is what matters, so I should also bring my context into participation in whatever we are doing. We have a culture here where there's a minority, as Blacks are minorities, and then wherever you are always, caged. You don't have the opportunities that others have. So I said, I have to get involved. So I went for I tried to go for the first one, but I didn't. But this time around, I went yesterday. I went there, and a lot of executives were there. So I had to speak on the fact that they should give the Black minority more opportunities, in terms of either management, in terms of middle level, and even in terms of entry, even uh, contractors, agency, in all areas that there should be participation. Having traced the history of, the blacks in the United Kingdom and how they have involved themselves in different areas. I said this time around they should actually give them more opportunity management. What's the ratio? And that they should publish, whatever promotions, whatever placements they've made on it. Let people be aware whatever they are doing. I was really very vocal, and I tell you that I like myself for what I've done. I say, look, you don't have to sit in the box. Let people know. Let people know what is in your mind, and by doing that, you create. You even after that, so managers came to say, look, okay, look, I'm going to, give people opportunity. This one, this. They came and they said, look, they like it, and they're going to do that type of thing. So I was really pleased with myself for, not just staying in one place, because it's a context. It is context. That this lady, the also Tracy Goss, that is my key lady, and what he has done about, executive invention, and the fact that it has to be context. Words matter a lot. Context. Going to the moon was context. Declaration matters a lot. So as members of this organization, this group, we should context, vocalize, declare the things we want to do, and by God's grace, we will achieve them. Thank you.
Hold on, Harold, before you go. Okay,
Mm.
something you said, Harold. You said,
Mm.
so you went for a black meeting, and
Yeah,
the black are minority.
yeah.
From your participation in this class now, what does it mean that the blacks are in minority?
Yeah, in the minority in terms of executive,
And also in terms of one of the articles that I posted along with the topic this week.
Yeah.
Meaninglessness. What does it mean that the blacks are minority?
And in terms of it's a broad patriarchal. Actually, what I mean is this: in terms of
No,
speaking
I'm not
out of
trying, sorry,
opportunities.
I'm not trying to say you should explain what you mean. No, there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
The thing you said is out of order. I'm just trying to build on what you have said. So I attend a black meeting today now with the knowledge I have of being. I'm living in England, and so I attend a meeting of minorities. I will
Yeah.
attend. There's nothing wrong. I'm in Nigeria today. I will attend a meeting of the Urhobos. So, but what does it mean?
Yeah. So what it means is that you want to give opportunities for the blacks to be who they want to be. Yes, you want to give them opportunities, because all of them are being stifled. They just complaining. They don't have. It's just like, let's say, creating doors and opportunities for them. Creating doors, opening doors for them. It takes a lot to do that, because you are out there, receiving the bullets and everything. But at the same time, I mean, it is possible. Somebody has to do it. Yeah.
What
So
about,
it's not
okay,
part of it. Yeah.
just to
Now, let
extend
me
it.
relate it to let me
Okay.
relate it. So sorry for jumping in. So what you are asking, if I understand it, is that how do we relate it to like one of the articles? So in his eyes, he was seeing it that they were minority. You understand? But that is the way that is the meaning he's reading to it, that they are few in number. You understand? But one of the articles is making us to understand that it doesn't mean anything. The numbers does not mean anything. So what those people that think they are many have, the people who are few also have it in a different way. Like when they talked about the this guy of the Apple guy that is very rich. He used his time for the Apple thing, the one that is late now.
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah,
Steve Jobs.
yes. He said, but people who are also not rich like that, who are poor or who don't have that kind, they have plenty of time. So for the Africans that are few, in numbers, in the eyes of anybody who is looking, they may be thinking that those other people outnumbered them. But in the true sense of it, nobody is more than the other person. That's the real thing, because even the ones that are few in the eyes of people, they can have things that will make them more significant than the people who are majority, who do not carry the values that the Africans have. So in such situation, we just go unbiased, just be neutral. Yes, in my look, in the number, we are few, but I think that's just one small thing I want to use to relate to one of the recent thing that was posted there this week.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, who else wants to make any comment on that? What does it mean to be a Nigerian living in the US and you are a minority? Okay, there are
It's
no.
meaningless. It's meaningless.
So, so the truth is from the second article there, which I lifted from my second book, however you tell it, it's a story you made up. It has no meaning. Look, every time, I don't know how much I will pray for Tracy Goss till I die. Tracy Goss will say, it has no meaning. And that I am saying that when I say it has no meaning, some of you jump in to say, oh, let's do this now, life has no meaning. He said that I'm saying that it has no meaning. What I'm also saying has no meaning. Now, it is we that gives life meaning. So what we'll be looking at today is the neutrality of God. It is we that say something is A or B. You see, if you check another explanation of Ecclesiastes, where Solomon said, vanity upon vanity, it's all vanity. It says, meaninglessness upon meaninglessness is all meaningless. That's what Solomon was saying. Now, it is we. I am from Urobo, good. We are 2% of Nigeria, good. How does it affect what I can be in Nigeria? Zero. It has no effect. It is meaningless. Now, some people will now put a meaning, because we are looking at context. They will now put a meaning to that statistics. So I've lived in Kano. I don't know how many percentage of people in Kano live the kind of lifestyle I have. I don't know. Yes, they are in majority. So it is meaningless. But maybe somebody is there, who's also even an Alimajiri in Kano, is rejoicing that he's from Kano. But it is meaningless. It has no meaning. Now, but what people do, now, when you show up in a context that already limits what is possible for you. Look, I didn't know some of the things I knew now. So I was a general manager several years ago in Dublin. Then my MD said, Tunde, look, he said, look, this man go for election. He said he will back me with finance. Look, I did, when I came to Dublin to do MBA, the last thing on my mind was to get involved in politics. I thought about it for 1 week. I shied away from it. 2 years later, in Blanchester, in several counties in Dublin, Nigerians emerged as chairman. They won the elections. I said, Jesus. Now, being in minority has no meaning. So today, Kemi Badnoch is the leader of the largest party in the United Kingdom, and she is Nigerian. 2008, I was living with a friend when Obama was running for the president of the United States. And I said, from everything Obama will win, this guy just dismissed me. He's an Urobo guy. He spoke in Urobo and said all the nonsense. That as educated as I am, can't I see that a black person will never rule United States until Jesus comes? We argued almost 1 day, almost 12 hours. Finally, Obama won. Now, it has no meaning. that you. So if you are working anywhere, if one of the contexts in which you show up, I'm showing up from a disadvantaged constituency, you can delete that in your mind today. You can delete it. It has no meaning. In fact, if I look at the meaning for me, when I was doing MBA in University College Dublin, because I was the only African student in the class when when elections were going on for executive of the MBA class of 2004, I did not participate. Karen, who was the then MBA director, was an American lady. He put my name and gave me an office that place would not be contested for, that they want an African on the executive board of the class. You know what occurred to me? I said, man, being black is working for me. I said, but I used to think that if I came here, in a class where I'm the only black person, it's going to turn negative for me. It's for me. While others were coming, making pitches in front, I didn't need to make any pitch. They just put my name and gave me a Karen Finnegan, put my title in the exco and that I should not contest, but that I must be on the exco. So it has no meaning that you are from a minority. Like some of us know here. I mean, in Nigeria owns Gatwick Airport, the second largest airport in the United States, or majority stake, whatever you want to call it. It has no meaning that I am from a minority. It has no meaning. But if your context partitions now, when you show up in the world, sometimes people show up, you are in Lagos, you show up as an Igbo person, and you step down what is possible for you. It has no meaning. Zero. There are infinite number of billionaires living in Lagos. It has no meaning that you came from any part of Nigeria. It has no meaning. Now, it is only you that is giving it your own unique meaning. All right, I don't want to take too much time on that. So if there's any other thing that somebody wants to say what you have learned from on being and it has been useful to you in your day-to-day this thing, you may share it in the next 7 minutes so that we'll get into today's topic. All right. So who wants to, we are going to the subject today. Okay, go on, Toast.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
One of the things I've learned is, what we said, what do you want? We say, what do you want? What we want is what we should portray. I remember I have a customer that I've known since 2019, right from when I knew him. I was in Port Harcourt then, and he's in Lagos. I remember the first time he bought paints from me, he didn't pay in full. He told me, say, I don't know you. Okay, you already know where my property is in Abia State. So, so from that time, it's like each time he wants to buy something from me, maybe I will need to pay with my money, deliver to him. It is when I've delivered, he will now send me the money. Or at times he'll give me half of the money. It's been like that. So last week I sent a quote. I know he's the owner of the project, but the engineer was the one that contacted me and I gave the cost. So on Saturday morning, in fact, we even went for evangelism. He called me, said, Toast. And I said, are you aware I'm the owner of that quotation? He said, I said, yes, sir. I said, yes, I know, I'm aware. And he said, so what is the issue? I said, sir, if you make payment now, we're able to supply today. He said, so the quotation was about 2.26, about 2.26. So when he asked me, how much is the money? I said, 2.2 million, sir. He said, I said, okay, send your account. So I sent my account details. Before I knew, in less than 5 minutes, I had the money in my account. So within me, I was not laughing. I said, this same person before now will not tell me no. Okay, supply. Once I confirm that you have supplied, you will see money in your account. But I didn't need to supply. In fact, I didn't even supply that Saturday. The person I called said, it's on Sunday they will go. So it was on Sunday they eventually delivered. So within me, I was laughing. I said, it's like, I've been able to change things. If not, before now, it was like, I look at it as if he's doing me a favor by buying from me. But at the same time, I'm providing you service. So what I want now is what I dictate. And somehow, honestly, is something that has really helped me. And I work with distributors. It's like I dictate to the distributor, this is what I want for a discount. If it doesn't favor you, well, okay, I can buy from any other place. So I have been able to use what I've learned from this place to say, what do I want? So when I go into any conversation, I'm trying to say, okay, what do I want from this? And based on what I want, I discuss, I take my position from what I want. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Toast. Thank you. So there's a lot. I will tell you, there is a lot of impact the class is having on me. Every time I study, I tell you, I wish many of us will facilitate more, because I have the extra advantage that because I'm going to facilitate, so I read widely. But it pays me a lot, I'll be very honest. If you know how much that it is your being dictating how people treat you, and you think they have to change when it's you that has to change, it will just blow your mind. Who you are being, it's always about who you are being. Sometimes, I don't know who I was talking with. I was talking to somebody during the week, and he was saying, so I was in this group where they size me up and they talk to me anyhow. He said, I hope you relate with that. Oh, I said I relate. But later on, I said, I hope you know that sometimes that they size me, and sometimes I post, nobody make comment or they want to insult me. It's all in your filters. It's all in your filters. It's not happening out there. It's happening in here. And the good thing is, it's a good thing that it's happening in here, because it's only here that I have the power to change it. If it's happening out there, till Jesus come, I'm going to be a prisoner of the situation. It's a good thing. I was reading Tracy Goss in the early hours of this morning. So she was coaching a guy who wanted to be a top star in Hollywood in the US. So he's done everything. Try this method of coaching. The guy will go and they will still turn him down in the auditioning. On 2 occasions, he now followed him in the auditioning. So when she followed him, she now came back and said, now I know what the issue is. He said, but hold on. Go on this and come. Then the guy came. The guy said, they told me I am not an acting material. Tracy God said, that is a good news. And the guy was shocked. Good news. My entire life dream is how to be in Hollywood. They tell me I am not a material for this industry. And you say it's good news. Man, I don't know. I don't know how Tracy Goss got the revelation of that book for a lady. She said that they said that you are not a material has no meaning. I almost collapsed. I said, Tunde Ekpekorede, how many times did they tell you that this thing is not for you, and you just turn back in pity party, pitying yourself almost in tears? That they said that you are not a material has no meaning. Then he said, let's rejoice, because now the coaching will start. This guy went on to be a household name in Hollywood. I don't want to take your time to. It's not, we are heading towards this series, but I'm sure some of the classes I'm going to run in 2026, Tracy Goss is going to be a Bible. It's compulsory. Everybody who is in the class must buy it. So, on being gods, how many of us read it, and who wants to introduce us briefly to what the idea of the book is about, or the article? It's from a book the title of the book is You Are Gods. So we are all here, we are all students. Nobody read it.
I read it, coach. I read it, but
Okay.
it was a kind of abstract thing when I was
Any
reading.
little one, anyone you remember, whether it's one sentence.
Yeah.
Maybe
So it was
somebody else may be able
just
to.
about we being gods,
Mm,
with the small letter God,
mm,
using that we are gods and we can create whatever we want. Understand? We can that we are in a position to create the type of life that we want. Whether you are having pain or you are having sorrows, you are God, you are able to create. Because when God created the earth and put Adam and Eve in the garden, he gave them that power to name all the animals. You understand? And whatever names they called the animals is what remains as the names that they are known as now. So it says that so we have to use that power that God has given to us, that creative power to recreate our environment, recreate the way we see things, recreate our perception of things, and begin to get, the kind of life that we really want, instead of just, you know, uh, 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 believing that it's just the environment. No, it is we, because we are gods. Thank you. Thank you,
All
coach.
right, thank you very much. That's a very good introduction. Who else want to add their little sense to what they read from the article? Uh, Percentage readership that low. Okay, Mr. Adunayo.
Good morning, sir.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
everyone.
Good
Yes,
morning.
sir. So I read the article, and just like what Madam Harriet mentioned, it was I had to read it a few times, to be able to put it into context, or to understand it within my own operating context. So I had to apply a lot of what we learned here, to say, okay, why, 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 why do I feel this way when I'm reading it? Am I operating from but so what I learned from it, or what I understand from what he was trying to say is, that the there was no judgment on Adam and Eve. Basically, there was just a revelation of the consequence of their actions, and that
Mm,
what happened was that they entered into a realm of being like God. So they accelerated that action happening, for lack of a better introduction. So what has happened is that they now create the environment, or they entered into the creativity aspect of their being, which is all that they experience, their environment all around them is now I'm coming over. Is now a result of their of themselves. They create the operating environment. They create all things. They are now the ones who are in charge. The same that in the Garden of Eden, they were operating in another person's reality. But now God has given them the ability to create their own reality. And they can do that in different ways, by using all that they have at their disposal. So for me, that was one thing for me, that's the majority, the if I can give a brief summary, that was my own understanding of what he was trying to express, even if it's not all aspect of the paragraph that resonated with me, but at least I got that as the meaning to say, yes, the view of saying that they were cursed is contextual. The view of saying they were cursed is contextual, but that what happened was that they just entered into a realm. And if you look at it from that perspective, then you see it's more empowering rather than diminishing by saying there was a curse. Thank you,
okay.
sir.
When you say it's more empowering, how does that leave you? Does that leave you excited or disempowered.
No,
And when you read that, sorry, when you read it with your religious lenses, which all of us wear here, how did your religious lenses interact with it?
yeah, yes, sir. So that was why I said that a few of the like it's not all aspects of the paragraphs or all
That you
aspects of
agree with?
yes,
Okay.
because what he's saying is yes. So it's like you are looking at a, which is one thing I'm very very grateful for this session. Because hey, Timothy, I'm on the phone. So it's that you can take a look at something and look at it as a will I say a prism or like a cube, and then all sides of that cube is a different position, but then everything is the cube. So people are you can have different opinions on that matter, and you are all correct. You are all operating from a correct position because you are expressing different perspectives of that cube, or if you know. So for me, I feel he was providing some sort of insight to a position. But if you look at it from a religious perspective, not religious, from a scriptural perspective, it's not the full story, because there are other aspects of scripture that speaks to while that is not the full story. Because for those of us who are Christians, we know that the introduction of Jesus Christ was for a reason. So if there was no, if that was meant to be empowering and create the opportunity for man to thrive in the dimension that God initially intended, there was no need for introduction of Christ. Christ wouldn't have come. So while this is one part to say yes, it's good for man to understand that this was that even in the midst of this, there's power that you can still tap into. But in a way, if you take that literally, then you remove the need for the death, for the birth, the resurrection, the death,
Okay.
the birth.
Okay, I'm trying to so that you are in order, but just like in one sentence or one and a half. So why would Jesus himself said, is it not written in your law that ye are gods?
Yes. So we can look at that from two contexts. So one is that Jesus is speaking about Jesus is speaking about the nature that they truly are. And that you can also look at it from context that he was speaking from a future tense, which is this is the position you should operate in.
Okay,
but
all right. Hold it there. So which means right now the position you and me should operate from is that we are gods. Are we
exactly
correct?
agree.
Does
Totally
that
agree.
leave you empowered or disempowered
No,
or
empowered.
afraid?
Empowered.
Okay.
Empowered, which is why I understand what he was trying to show. The spirit or the principle behind it, I agree to. No, but maybe not all the opinions expressed resonate with me, but the principle behind it, I do agree with. That this is our operating environment. This is how we should engage with life. This is because it resonates with what we are learning here about being, about creating, and that's what he was just basically saying, that all of life is created by us. We create it. All our experiences are created. And so own your creation, own that creation, because you are a God. So own the creation. So I agree with that, with that context. I do.
Okay.
Totally agree with it, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I don't know for the rest of us and for all of us here, rather, I mean, what does this learning sometimes this year, 2025, so I was fasting and my friend Sam Egube called me. What did they do today? I said, I'm waiting on the Lord. He now said, are you waiting on the Lord or the Lord is waiting on you? He said, sometimes we know all this religious language. And he's a pastor. So I started stammering. But something in the introduction of this topic that Miriam Williamson said, she said, it is our light that frightens us. You know, it looks, so if I'm the one creating everything in my world, I have created the ones I don't like. I don't even know how to correct some of the ones I've created that I don't like. So I would wish that God would correct it for me. But I am God. It leaves me, yes, like Odunayo said, so powerful. But yes, like Miriam Williamson said, scared of that responsibility. It looks like I want somebody else. I want God to take that responsibility. I don't want to be responsible for creating my poverty or my success. God should just create it for me, creating the pain, the filters with which I look at life. I have created them. Now, that's what we are learning in being. But remember when we're doing the awareness of being, we have to, and uncovering your winning strategy. If you don't know the things you created that are giving you this outcome, your life will just be going in circles. So these are the filters running. We just looked at a filter a while ago. The simple filter that I'm living in England or the US, and I'm an African or a Nigerian, and they said I belong to a minority. Yes, this is language. I belong to a minority. What does it mean? Now, what does that sentence mean? So we live in all of these silos as gods that have bastardized who we are. So, like when I said I'm waiting on God, and my friend says, "Are you sure you are waiting on God, or you are afraid to decide what next you want to do with your life?" Afraid. So one person that comes to my mind right now is Moses. So Moses cries to God. He doesn't know what to do, and God said, "Why cries that unto me? Why are you crying unto me? You should know what to do." So we are gods. So that we've created the life we have created. We will take one class before this year finish. How we lost our identity. If you know how much, I don't remember whether it was Albert Einstein or who said, the most brilliant person or the person who has really used what it is to be a human being, the best of us has used 12% in all of human history. Nobody has used up to 12%, more than 12% of what it means to be a human. So whether it's Elon Musk, whatever that is, the US president, anybody. Now, majority, for me, the more I look at how much is put in us, majority are on minus, I don't want to say minus, negative, maybe 0 point something. Because in programming, upbringing, we have learned a lot. And it's not anybody's fault. We have learned a lot. We have learned a lot of limitations. Getting rid of those limitations is a work of eternity. Is a work of eternity. Tracy God said something in her book. He said, it is impossible to restart on a clean slate. He says, whether it is the one you have inherited or learned the programming, it is impossible. You know, I now said to myself, I said, maybe no wonder Jesus said, look, just forget, you have to be born again. It's just not possible. I had to go and study artificial intelligence when I got to the chapter where Tracy God said, it's impossible. I said, how do they build AI models? I don't know. So AI people may be here. I said, the model is built on an existing program. The model is built on an existing program. Now, not all, a model is possible on a particular program that is already existing. That already existing is a child that is born into this world. So the child comes with an already pre-configured body. When Jesus said, body thou hast prepared me, that body is already pre-configured. Then we start to build what it means to be a human on that body. By the time the child is 10, he has forgotten what it means to be a adult. Completely. He has forgotten. Now, To change that, to change any AI program, artificial intelligence, you can't just alter an architecture program to AI to a structural engineering AI. You have to just destroy it first. So, but the only way, like one of the, if you follow the series of what we are learning, is that when you are able to come out even momentarily and be aware of who you are. E.W. Kenyon, one of his books, Being God Inside Minded. Be aware of who you are and seeing yourself, seeing the program running with which you are operating. That this program, you don't want it. Even though you cannot restart, if you can increase your awareness of the context from where you are coming, just if I'm living in England today and I just think that being an African means, for example, there are opportunities for British that are not mine. First of all, I have taught 3/4 of what is possible in England of my life. It's only me that can fix that thing that I have just created. I created it, it's not England. There's no way it's written in the statutes and laws of England. Now, so when I'm just being aware now I'm seeing a vacancy. Governor Bank of England. You can imagine the current Prime Minister of Canada was appointed at one time governor of the Bank of England. He was not even living in England. He was governor of the Bank of Canada, and the United Kingdom reached out to him to come and be governor of the Bank of England. He wasn't even living in England. Now, the programs that run us, that create our opportunities, we have created them. And the more I look deep into myself, I don't know, was it the psalmist who said, "Oh, wretched man that I am"? I don't want to say, "Oh, wretched man that I am." I am a God. Now I'm realizing there is more to me than the upbringing, the programming of slave with which I was raised. The slavish one with which I was raised, there is more to me. This world is full of infinite wealth, but the programming of the sum total of humanity has prevented us from accessing this wealth. It's filled of infinite scientific breakthroughs, but the programming that with which humanity runs itself has limited us in what is possible for us. So sometimes even, yes, realizing that we are God makes us powerful. But then, how are we going to use it? Is it chapter 5 or chapter 6 of the last word on power? Tracy God begin to teach what I say in this place is what is possible. So somebody is told, you are not a Hollywood material. Say, congratulations. Congratulations. Because you are a God. It is still going to rest on you. What do you want? This is what they say, but what are you saying? This is what they said about you in the place you are working, but what are you yourself saying? Now, are you going to accept the one they are saying, or you are going to say your own? You are a God, and you've been given that responsibility. Now, as a God, we have created, whether we say it's upbringing, programming, now we have been programmed. Now we ourselves are also programming. Now we ourselves are also building on the program. Now we are building limitations. Now we are finding out. Okay, the God that created us, God, when he saw darkness, what did he do? Did he go there and started romancing, started crying that there is darkness? So sometimes I would just say, I remember when I was saying, the question, what do you want? It's not every time you have the answer in an hour. In coaching sessions, sometimes you are on the 20th class, you are still on, what do you want? Because it takes a lot of introspection and all the context driving your life all the contexts that are determine who can be your friend, who cannot be your friend. The context of how you see your parents. You say they are wicked, you say they are good. Have you been able to examine the context in which that judgment is? Now, as a God, is that the now see, is that the outcome you want as you are a God? The judgment you are passing on the organization. What does now a God goes for what he wants? A God creates what he wants. God doesn't create what will destroy it. So now I have called my boss a bad boss. Is he serving me? And if it is not, how can I undo it? How can I create a new one? Which filter has created this client? I am taking 10 jobs and I'm losing 9 customers out of 10. And I am a God. And there is a filter running in me that is making me lose those customers. What do I need to do? Which filter is running in me? And I'm thinking they are all devils or one thing and have ceded my powers. Which filter is running my life that I need to be aware of? That I need to be conscious of and said, no, I'm trimming this filter. It's not serving me. I am trimming this one. It's not serving me. All of the filters, like the article the short poster we did on the Saturday, we did filters. You say the dating apps are not bringing the wife or the husband. Well, you forgot that you are the one who set up the filters. And all of our lives as gods, we have these inbuilt filters we have created. If they are not serving us, what can we do? All right, still on the article, if you have any perspective you want to share, the floor is yours. Let me try to flip through the article if I can ask a few questions before we close. But the floor is open if you have any perspective to share. If you want to comment on what I have been saying so far, the floor is open.
So, Coach, where they talked about the Adam and Eve thing and said the garden was someone else's creation. They created the garden and put them there and gave them instruction. So if we liken that one to what we are seeing in our life, we were born, into a culture, into a family, raised up with other people's ideas of life. That wasn't our own creation. So that's like likening it to this. The garden was someone else's creation. Our past experiences when we didn't know what we're supposed to be doing, created by environment around us, is somebody else's creation. So until they lost their relationship with God, that God now allowed them to start taking decision for themselves. That was when they started creating. And that is the level where we are getting to now in this class, knowing that we are the ones that are writing this. Every story that we have or we are saying, it didn't exist. It's what we were made to believe or what we thought. But now it's for us to now start recreating how we want it to be in our lives. You understand? Not be moved by emotions, but begin to design how you want your life to be going forward. So that was what happened that was why they said that they were gods, because they started creating. At that point, when they lost it all, they were not waiting again to hear that, don't eat this one, don't do this one. Every time they come and do communication with them in the garden, in the evening of the hour, God will come. This time they left them. So whatever they did, they had to reap from the fruit of their labor. You understand? So that's a little bit I can see in that, that says that they didn't have control. The garden wasn't their own creation. So we have been in many situations where the garden we find ourselves was not our own creation. what are we doing with, how are we going to get out of it, or what are we going to do? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, who else wants to say something? Okay. Harold, go on. Harold, you're
Sorry.
muted.
Coach,
Okay.
yeah, okay. Coach, please, there's one place I want to point out. It said we have the energy to create pain, sorrow, happiness, joy. It matters not. Yeah, but what I have read about before this is that it's a negative world. Okay, the world we are living in is a negative world. So you don't take any much energy to create negativity. It just comes down on you. So is the um and the example they gave is this. If, for example, you're walking on on a roof, what do you call it, a stick between two tall buildings, okay, and you try as much as possible to be positive, as you are walking, and you just like Peter looked down, and the waves drowned him. When you look down and you imagine you're going to fall, you fall immediately. Okay, so in other words, yeah, so it is the onus is the energy actually is on creative positivity and capacity to be that than the negative. Because negative, it comes to like natural. That's why you have more poor people, you have more wars and bombs. Negative is a negative war. So it doesn't take much for a child to just think of one. You see, before it comes from war, they have scattered everything. So it's like it comes natural. This negative, negative wars, death, all those things. But the energy is actually in the power now to create something positive. Like God even says, He gives us the power to get well. There's power in positivity. There's power in getting from zero to hero. That's what I want to point out. So I think our energy should actually come on that. Yeah.
Sorry, when you say it's a negative word, just in 1 minute, throw additional light.
Mhm. The world, I think, positive and negative, I think that what I was describing is about Yang and Yin. Yang and Yin, it's talking about positive and negative, but that this world instead has more of negativity. It's just a negative world. And if you look at it, the pain, sorrow, like all what we have been doing and, interpretations and all those things, it comes very easy and natural to go on the negative part of it.
Okay,
Something happens to you.
let me shorten the journey of this my conversation with you. So, which one would you choose from the last two articles and from what we are discussing so far? Every human being on the face of the earth, has a model of the world they are working with. Every human being.
Yeah.
It's complex. Not two human beings. 8 billion people have 8 billion models.
Okay.
Now, if you, in the light of what we have been studying on being, which one will you choose? It is a negative world or it's a neutral world?
Okay, that's what being is giving us now. That it's a neutral world. Okay, but coming from there, before being, it is a negative world. Okay, and
Oh,
because it is
being, you are
that's why we're
becoming
here.
aware now.
Mhm.
You see, we have learned a lot of things from people, from teachers, from books, whatever. Now we are going deep and we are seeing our power of choice to shape what from where we are coming. I can just arrive in China today, and what I arrived in China with how China is executing all Nigerians. I can arrive in China today. What I arrived in China is how Okoro owns that manufacturing company in Shandong. This one owns Nigerians have so many manufacturing companies here. And which one will give me energy? Now all of them both of them, they are trying to preload me. Even Nigerians who are there are trying to preload me. Here, they are killing Nigerians as they come to China. Now one says, Nigeria has so many manufacturing companies here. Which one do I want? Which one will serve you that this world is negative or it's neutral?
The one that will serve me, is detachment. That's why we are here to say this is detachment. That you should be detached from whatever things that are going on, and you create the environment that you want to. That is being. Yeah, but what I wanted to point out in the article where it says the same energy to it doesn't take much energy to create the pain and sorrow. It becomes like natural. Okay. So what we doing here is either you get a detachment, being neutral, so that you cannot choose what you want to choose, the freedom to choose, to be positive, to actually look at these things from the point of view that, look, it can be what you want to be, than to be negative. I just want to point it out that,
Okay.
it's
So it's
good
okay. The
to see it.
conversation is in order. The conversation, we keep
Yeah.
trying to unravel what we are understanding. That can only take place in the conversation. Thank you. Toast, the floor is yours.
Okay, sir. For me, is what the writer is trying to tell us is we have an infinite possibility of what is possible for us. So it's like there is no limit to what you can do or what you can create in this situation now, but you have to take responsibility for whatever you create. So it's just telling us that, just like going back to the Bible, say whatever they have imagined, say whatever you have imagined to do, that which we have imagined. So it's telling us what is that imagination in our head, what is that imagination in our hearts. Then if we see it, it's possible, it can be created. So he's trying to say there is no limit to what can be created. If we are gods now, you are gods, you can create. God created what he wanted. What is it that we want? We can create what we want to as God. We now have the power as God to create what we want to see. It's possible to create it. That's one of the things I got from it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Margaret Efeturi. Margaret, the floor is yours. Margaret, you are muted. I don't know if you are talking. Okay, Margaret is muted. I don't know if she's hearing me. All right. Constance, the floor is yours.
Hello, sir. Can I say, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Good morning, sir. Good morning,
Good
all.
morning. Good morning.
Well done.
Thank you.
Very conversation, sir. So, there's just one thing, I want to just bring us back again to that Garden of Eden that they said was created by someone else, not by us. You see, it's like a privileged child that was given everything. The father said, "Oh, I love you so much. Have everything you ever need. And I'm also stopping you from doing more. But don't do this particular thing." The child went astray and came back to himself. It didn't mean that he couldn't have built on what was given generously. It's just that because maybe like we have in this, I won't say entitlement or the God grace, that was how sin came. But it was not wrong. God cannot be wrong now, He just gave, it's like prodigal son had everything, he went astray. When he came to himself, he came back home. But the generosity and the kindness and love of the father still brought him back to himself to give him a new life kind. So positivity is always good. What I see, what I feel, and what I sometimes, when we get new information, we get born again, there's fire. You pray, you see results, because there is one kind of holy anger and purity of that newness. there is something, about it that energizes everything, and but after a while you find that the fire is going down. That's why this kind of class is so important. It brings us back to ourselves again, for us to know ourselves, the creation, that we are gods indeed. That is what the word of God said. Because check yourself out. Yeah, I feel that the only limitation that we have is this: our mind. Though, we get some things that we used to do. We do with a lot of courage without even think. We just do it. After a while, we begin to get intimidated, withdrawn, maybe by life or by, I don't know. We get withdrawn. We withdraw ourselves. We begin to feel small. Even sometimes when they tell you, you did that the other time. So you mean I really did that? Yes, you did. So we should. This one now is bringing us back to ourselves. We are coming back to ourselves to realize the creation, that thing, the inner man that God, that strong person that you say we are gods, that we really, there is boundless opportunities. So we should not be seeing greatness or darkness or negativity. It's all positive. We make mistakes, we fall, we rise. Sometimes we don't rise as fast as we used to. Sometimes rise at all. But this class now, it helps us to remember, or even learn new things, to come to ourselves and begin to be gods in this world. Those other people that are doing so, they don't have 7 heads. They are just Elijah. The Bible said Elijah was human like us, but he said no rain for 3 years, and it did not rain 3 years plus, and it was like that. You and I, there are sometimes that we said some things without that, but it was like that, and we saw it, that God answered this prayer, or this one happened, that one happened, but somehow begin to falter, begin to fall back, begin to diminish, maybe by circumstances of life or relationships, or I don't know, So that is just my comments, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Margaret. So as we were talking, I remember one of the things I learned from Steve Chandler. Steve Chandler said, if you are a parent, you will notice that spoiled children are afraid to go out of the house. Spoiled children are afraid to step out because everything has been there. So when Margaret was talking, what occurred for me, maybe Adam and Eve, okay, the garden, they were spoiled, step out. And when they stepped out now, go and do your own creation. If you look at the mother, children are afraid to step out. Marco have been stepping out from when they were 1 year old, selling mango in Broad Street, selling orange on Broad Street, not today. But the Ajebota, so I'm going to have to pay for my room. It's unthinkable. But now go and exercise what it means to be God. Constance, the floor is yours.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is the voice of
Mr. Constance.
Well, there are quite a lot of things that I've learned. Most of the time I listen through the Constance platform, so I may not be saying it on the platform. I have some questions I want us to. What made God God?
Okay.
Why? Okay, let's answer that one first. What made God God? Why is God God? If we have that understanding, maybe we will know why we are gods. The sovereignty, the ability to get things done as he wishes, that makes him who he is. That's why he's God. He's never caged, he's never... When the earth was formed, according to the article, and there was darkness, there was confusion, like the article said, God didn't sit down and begin to mourn the situation and the circumstances and begin to weep. because that is not what he wanted, he simply goes inside and recreates the thing that he wanted, and he begin to call them forth, and they begin to appear. So in like manner, he's saying we are also in charge of the situation and circumstances that we might find ourselves, and we have the ability to create or recreate whatever that situation or circumstances are that is not in line with what we desire. Now, albeit I will say this, like the last speaker said, I think Margaret, that when you got born again newly, things happen. You just see your prayer life, you ask for this, just like a newborn baby. They don't put on breast. They don't give her water. They don't give her this. But as time goes on, if we cry 1 hour, said the mama no go look her. Just like that. Now, what informed that? Why are things not happening? You may mention, I think when you were explaining to Harold about certain situations, that because of the experiences that we have had over time, certain things, are not happening the way they should happen. And you are asking for, is it the neutral? I've forgotten what the question was really about. Which one will you choose, the neutral you or the negative situation? And so that negative situation that have been built over the years, over time, it's not something that happened in a series of occurrence. Maybe you pray today, the prayer was not answered. You do this one, do it was not answered. So there is this thing that have been built in our subconscious, and it's making it difficult for us to act in the capacity as God. Now, and that's why the scripture tells us in Romans 12:2 that I said we should not conform to this world, but we should transform. We should be transformed by the renewing of our mind, that we may prove that is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. The perfect will of God is that we should act in this capacity. He has created us in his image, in his likeness. That is his perfect will for us, that we should take his position. I think that's just my little explanation I can make to it. So how do we now begin to, most of the things that we are doing on this platform is the part of transformation, like a computer language. We are formatting the system. The old baggages, the negative ideas that we have imbibed over the time, over the year, that is limiting us. That is not allowing us to express, the nature of God that is in us. That's what we are trying to, scrape. That's what we are trying to format. And like I said, in computer system, the viruses that you have, taken into the system, that is not allowing the system to function normally until they are completely eradicated. The computer or the system cannot maximize the use for which it has been designed. I think that's my own take this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Thank you. So a lot of insight in your contribution there. See, as Wale was talking, I remember so I think, is it Corinthians or Romans? So Paul begins to talk about meat offered to idols. And he said that there's nothing in meat offered to idols. He said, but if your filters tell you that it is bad, then don't eat it. It is neutral. The meat offered to idol is neutral. If your filters tell you it's bad, then don't eat it. If your filters tells you it's good, then go and eat it. But if you are with another brother that has filters that this meat offered to idols has power in, he said for his sake, you may avoid it. Now, you can imagine the breadth of power that we have. When Sam told me, today, are you waiting on God or you don't know what to do, or you are afraid of saying, this is what I want? It could be scary. If you read Marianne Williamson, she ran for the US presidential election once and lost. She said, it is scary to just know that this power is at your disposal. And you don't even know what you want, or you have been creating with it consciously or unconsciously. All right, let me not talk too much. Queen, the floor is yours.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's been long, I know.
Yes.
I wanted to ask, I think my statement is in a question form.
All right.
But my statement is a statement. Now, I want to ask, all these things we are discussing, doesn't it revolve around certain factors? And my certain factors is this. God created the earth, okay, and he created Adam and Eve, from what we read. Then when they ate the apple, they got to know good and evil, meaning that now they're like gods. So they should go ahead and start their own creation. If they didn't eat the apple, they would have been limited, not knowing good and bad. Okay? But they ate the apple, they got to know good and bad. Now they're like gods, they're not good and bad. So now do with it whatever, use the knowledge for your own, for whatever you want. Now, I believe that it is that factor of fear that made, instead of using the knowledge for positivity and knowing the factor of being that God that made them limit themselves with fear. And instead of putting out all potentials, they now started living on the low part. I don't know if I'm making sense. Because I'm trying to find. Okay, so they now started living with limited potentials instead of living with the full potentials of God, with the good and bad they already know. They now decided to pick more of the negative than the positive. Now, we talked about Christ, and the last speaker, Mr. Constance, I think he mentioned something about formatting. And I also had one of our speakers say something about the idea of Christ, that they're trying to mellow it down. I want to see the coming of Christ as the formatting, because because from Adam to when Christ came, there was more negative than positive. Yes, we had those who were on the positive part, the high positive part, people like the Moses, the Isaiah, all the prophets. I think they were more of the positive side, but we have more of the negative, which trickled down to us. Now still seeing ourselves as the minority, which now brings us to the modern terms we now use. Okay, we are still seeing ourselves in our limited form instead of going all out. So I believe Christ came to remind us that in the midst of all these things, there are those who use their full potentials. Why can't we be like them? Okay, if we can't be like them, we should be like him. He's the light. He's the way to God. So if you are more of light, more of positivity, we shall see that we have more potentials. You can say, let the rain stop, the rain will stop. Let the sun shine, the sun will shine. Because from what Madam Margaret said, if you pray, whatever you pray, it's answered. If you want to step out and you're in that prayer state and you say, God, let the sun not shine today, you might have called God, but actually you are the one making it not to shine. If you come and say, this rain, I beg, stop falling, I want to go out. This rain starts falling. That is your prayer working. So I believe if is it not a fact that if we are more on the positive side, which is living towards the Christ-like light form, that we shall be exhibiting more of our godly nature than when we are living in a negative part, which is more of fear, making us the minority. Now, why I went into that minority part is because, okay, I went Googling and I noticed that the blacks are limited in the UK, which might be the reason why they're called a minority. But for goodness sake, every continent has their own citizens, okay? But if you believe that you are on the minority, you will see yourself as not being able to do anything. So isn't it fear that is separating us from the past and the present? Isn't it fear that is stopping us from being the gods we're supposed to be? That is my question. Isn't the whole thing all about fear of using our full potentials? Because we know that when we go and when we use our full potential, we can do more than we can ever imagine. That is my question.
All right. Thank you
I don't know
very
if
much.
that makes sense. I hope it
100%.
makes sense.
100%. It makes sense. Okay. Let me allow Michael to come in after now.
Okay, good morning, Coach. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Michael.
I've listened to a lot of the conversations. Just let me quickly respond to what I think it's Queen that just spoke. She asked, isn't it fear that makes us not to live to our full potential? I think it's a combination of majorly unawareness. If you're reading that article, being God, there's a place where the author talked about being unaware, unconscious living, and then a little bit of fear. Let me give a little bit of explanation or throw further insight. Now, I've heard people say in this class that in trying to interpret the article, I've heard people use the phrase, now that you are gods, now that we are gods, we can do this, we can do that. That's a bit of a misunderstanding, a bit, in the sense that we haven't just become gods. We didn't become gods when it was at the path at which it was written in the scriptures, for those who are Christians. Well, I have said that you are gods, but all of you boys shall die like the sons of men. No. We became gods even at creation. In the book of Genesis, when God was creating man, they used an expression. He said, let us make man in our own image and after our likeness. The capacity to be God was inbuilt at the point of creation. It is the lack of realization that makes a lot of us, firstly, not to become aware. And later, when we become aware, which is what Queen was just saying, we are frightened at our potentialities. And we shy away because of that fear. I'll give an illustration with myself. From reading one of the books you have mentioned in this class, some about 2 months ago or thereabouts, I did a limiting beliefs analysis on myself. And one of the beliefs I came up with was that I hesitate at certain things. The reason being that I have a subconscious fear that I will succeed. And when I succeed, more effort will be demanded from me to move on to another level. So out of the subconscious desire to avoid that effort, I soft pedal even on the initial one. A lot of people go through that. Then a lot of people are outright just like Peter walking on the water. What the scripture says, the sea arose and he saw the roar, he heard the roar of the waves and he became afraid. A lot of people are just afraid of the storms their filters have created to life in their own mind or before them, and they totally shy away from even attempting to do that which they already have capacity to do. Let me stop here for now.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael. So, as we Queen, are you raising your hand again? Or?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, he mentioned something about self-awareness. Now, I want to give an example. There is this beggar that stays in front of a church. So the church decided that this beggar has been here. Actually, he's a cripple. So they now contributed money and bought a wheelchair for this beggar. This beggar took the wheelchair and sold it and used the money and ate it and went back to begging. Okay. He's not aware. Now there's another beggar, a lady. They gave her 500,000 naira to start a business. 2 weeks later, she is back to the road. What happened to the money? That she ate it. Now, is it that they are not aware that these things given to them can better their condition, or they don't want to take their responsibility, as he said, that if I start to use this money now, I will have to hustle. I will have to do this. It's better I lean on others instead of working that hard. So I believe it's more of fear than because self-awareness is that creativity that God put in us. We all are aware. Yes, as you make use of it, it becomes alive. But the less you make use of it, it's dominant, but it is there. We know that you can use our hands, but sometimes you might not want to use your hands. Okay? You just want to relax. So I believe that, yes, he said self-awareness, but self-awareness is when you begin to let go of the fear, you now become more conscious of your actions, and that is where the self-awareness begins to play. That is my own response to him. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Michael, the floor is yours.
Okay, Queen, I use the word awareness, not self-awareness. There's a difference. Awareness is a consciousness of the totality of your environment. Self-awareness is a consciousness of your own inner paradigms. There's a difference. Now, for the case of the two beggars, the way my thinking is this. When I read in the scripture sometimes, apologies to those of us who are not Christians here, but we will sometimes make references to these things, not coming from a religious context, but coming from a context of the dynamics of life itself. When I read in the scriptures those days, that where Jesus said, the poor you have always with you, was confusing to me. And I asked myself, why would Jesus say this? The poor you have always with you. I mean, I thought part of his mission and part of what he's expecting those, his disciples following him to do, is to eliminate poverty or suffering, if I may use that word, you know. And then I read again somewhere in the scriptures, after many years, as I was maturing in the faith, that the destruction of the poor is their poverty. I started to have deeper understanding. Now, the statement, the destruction of the poor is their poverty. By the way, I'm not a rich man by any measure of the word. So I'm what I'm saying with all humility. The statement that the destruction of the poor is their poverty isn't talking about material poverty. It's talking more about mental, spiritual poverty, and not just in a narrow context, but in the general context of the world, so to say, the totality of the world. So for the two beggars who misused the assistance they received, fear will be a component, but fear may not be the major component. It may not be, definitely not the only component. So I'm not disputing that fear is an element. I am saying that fear combining with other things, and that is firstly and majorly awareness. That's why I think it was Mr. Constance that made reference to Romans 12:2, where it says, be not conformed. And it makes another statement there. It says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. When the Lord Jesus said, except a man be born again, he cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven, many of us take that literally, or if I may use the context of modern Pentecostal Christianity, we take it in the context of, confessing Jesus. Confessing Jesus as Lord and Savior is just a preliminary, very basic step. The real heart of that matter is the renewing of the mind. And that's why Jesus himself said, except a man be born again of water and of the Spirit. Now, when you say a man should be born again of the Spirit, again, apologies to those who are not Christians here. This is not religious doctrine, dynamics of life. When you say a person should be born again of the Spirit, we all understand what being born again of water means, baptism, for those who are Christians. But what does being born again of the Spirit mean? Does it mean yielding up the Spirit that enlivens, that gives life to your body and acquiring another one? No, that's not what it means. What it means is transforming or changing those spirits that are driving you. There's a life force, if I may use that expression, behind everything that exists. Even the rocks, dynamite and all of granite and all of that, we think are lifeless. There's a life force. That's what chemistry will teach you when you think about the elements, energy, and all of that, right? So also, there is a force, I'll now use the word spirit, that drives all we do, all we are, how we run as human beings, right? And my understanding of what Jesus is saying, that be born again of the Spirit, is that you need to dispose of all those forces. That's why transformational doctrine, not Christian doctrine, but transformational doctrine in terms of self-development, will tell you sometimes that you need to become a new person. You need to do away with all those spirits that are not serving your purpose and take on those which will serve your purpose. Of course, what will be the purpose now? Positive, negative. All of us here will agree that it should be negative. All of us will agree that it should be positive. Definition of positive may be different. But to summarize everything I'm saying, what holds us back is not just fear, but a combination of several things, starting from the basic awareness of who we are, how we are created, and who we can be or what we can become. Let me stop here. I'm talking for too long.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So, 48, we are closing in about 5 minutes. So, thank you all. And for me, this class has been very insightful. So, I will tell you the truth. If you know what is in the soil that you are made of, in your being, the programming, look, an awareness of it will begin to alter how you work, what you need to do. When Michael said he wants to take something, then his mind creates another meaning. This interpretation is a lot. What has wind got to do with Peter walking on water? If you want to reason it logically, who should be afraid when the wind is walking on water, which means water has become his normal ground. He's walking with Jesus. But immediately he looked at it, the program that water makes you sink hit him. The program. If you know how this program works in us, it is death. Now, in centuries upon centuries, we have been raised in this awareness that the divinity in us, I don't want to say it's not to 0.1%, the divinity we exercise. Now, it comes automatic. It just comes. He's with Jesus. The person he's walking with, walking on water. As soon as, so I talked about a chapter in Tracy Gore. Somebody says, oh, I was told that I have no acting this thing. Now, I said, he didn't know he's a God. We have been raised in different circumstances, fear combined with a slavery mentality, combined with models of slavery from different customs and traditions all over the world. If you read the biography of Donald Trump, oh my God, there are some audacious things he do. He looks like a madman. Why is he looking like a madman to me? Because I have been held in prison in those areas of my life. He doesn't look human. Now, once you begin to set yourself free, awareness is the first thing. I am praying that this book, I've mentioned this several times, Uncovering Your Winning Strategy by Tracy Goss and Associates. They say it will be released before Christmas. 4 a.m. this morning, I checked again because I need that book just to sit down and know to give me more insight into myself. We have been raised in all of this, different people raised up in different customs, different traditions. What is making one strong is making one commit suicide. In this same world, it has to just do with filters. Now, in the book Frankenstein, filters created a monster that the person did not like. Some of us, we are something that we don't like. Monsters that our beliefs, a lot of things that are already embedded on us, layers upon layers. Oh, Michael is trying to free himself from one thing. A different layer unveils itself, a different layer of interpretation. So when you begin to see how these interpretations are, they're automatic. So if Peter just knew, I'm walking on water, but the speed at which, there is this thing by Viktor Frankl, the space within. In the space within, it says if you can hold yourself for 3 seconds, not to interpret anything that comes to you, it says your life will transform. The interpretation is so automatic, we don't think about it. So we just give in. You cannot be reading it. Just let it be neutral. 3 seconds. Is that too much? 3. You didn't interpret. Then if you didn't interpret, now say as a God, what do I want out of this thing? But what happens is just so, look, it's so, you see, spirit is being. When, I don't know what we're talking between Queen and Michael, when they were, Becky, the spirit is what? That which animates, that which gives life, that which brings out results. Now, that which animates in us, in programming, in teaching, in layers of educational system, it has taught us. Now, nobody is free from it. It's just that it's at different levels. When you see the people, the beggars giving money, go back. You don't know what programming does. So you don't receive 500,000. When they saw the world without begging, it was frightening. Kuja prison, there was a jailbreak 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And many of the prisoners ran away. Some who ran away, when they got to the streets of Abuja, it was scary. They went back to Kuje prison and handed over themselves. Why was it scary? It was scary because just in cities that your brain cannot interpret. In the prison, you are just there. You lie down, they bring one corn and you eat for 24 hours, 1 spoon of rice. You will rather be there. Look, let me tell you, you will rather be there. I have seen these things repeatedly. Sometimes freedom comes with such a responsibility that is scary. You will run. There was a jailbreak in Syria not too long. Many ran away. If some came back, when they ran into town, they went to submit. I'm one of those who ran away from the prison. Now, that is why we are living life. So sometimes the freedom, when Marianne Williamson says, it's our light that scares us. Because having been raised as slaves, freedom is even scary. Freedom is scary. So sometimes, it's somebody who is free, who is living, and look, the Pharisees, they said we have to crucify Jesus. Even on the Sabbath days, he's setting people free. Kenneth Copeland said he used to see himself. When I say we have millions of layers of interpretation, he used to see himself, he's the one that once he touches the hem of Jesus' garment, he's healed. You see, when he's praying and he's crying, God, this headache, I touched the hem of Jesus. It's as if Jesus slapped him. You are the one that they touch his garment and the person is made whole. You are not the one touching my garment. He said that thing brought a radical. You are the person that they should touch. You are not the one that should come and touch. You are already whole. Now, freedom is scary to someone who has been in prison. It's so scary. Your mental wiring cannot even handle it. So the first thing we are trying to learn in this bit is to get this awareness of how we have been locked by layers of upbringing, not with bad intention. It is the best they knew. So don't blame anybody for where you are. But you are becoming aware and you are beginning to look inward. EW came read his smaller, just Google being God inside minded. And you are saying no. You are now saying, the awareness comes to you. You are seeing the forces driving you. You are seeing the context driving you. As spirit, we create the context. We create the animating force. And the result comes out. Just like the filters, the Frankenstein filters. We pick the filters. Romans 5:14. Until the law, there was no sin. There was no sin. Until the law, there was no sin. But when sin came, partitioning, filters, it began to show them what they did not see. The same activities that were done up till Leviticus that were not seen. When the law came, it became sinful. Now, in all of the, we've been taught things, how this should be. If you were, depending on how you were raised, if you were raised up in a very poor background, your parents even slapped you for touching a bata shoe in the shop. That the bata shoe was not meant for you. It entered you. It was meant for the children of the rich kids. So it entered you. Now you are growing up, it's getting it difficult to even get rid of those, some basic things. And I'll stop here today. The programs that run us, it is God. But as we go deeper, an awareness of them will bring us freedom to be able to choose a better way. Thank you very much.
Coach, please, before you go,
yes.
This issue about neutrality, that if you have to create, you have to be in a neutral state, to create. You get the point that neutrality
what is the question? Sorry, I'm trying to get the question.
No, the issue, it said for us to create, you have to be in a neutral state, neither good or bad.
Okay, let me come into that. Now, everything you are seeing has no meaning. Now, from what you are seeing, the way God created you, now choose what you want, decide what you want in the situation. Now, but when you come, it's negative, or you come, I'm from a disadvantage. No, this thing you are seeing, no. That chapter 6 in Tracy Goss, I'm going to read it over and over again because I am a victim of that chapter, heavy victim. Programs written inside me from birth, there are very many. Now, you have to be able to come out of these automatic reactions that make you respond in certain ways to certain things. Now, if you can use the admonition of Viktor Frankl to just for 3 seconds, this thing before me is neutral. It has no meaning. Now, but what do I want? Now, say, Charles Capps, I don't know how many of us know Charles Capps. He said, God told him, I told my people to say what they want, but my people are saying what they have. He said, which means their lives will never change. What do you want? He said, I told my people, this is one of the greatest Bible preachers that ever lived, if you are depending on your age. I told my people they should say what they want, but they are saying what they have. Now, so long as they continue to say what they have in poverty, they will never get anything. But what do you want looking at it? Now, it's going to take a new way. I remember those days when I was a young believer reading Novelis. I called Here is a child with man born with a deformed leg. Then Charles Camps will be shouting for 1 hour. I call my leg straight. I call my leg straight. I call my leg straight. Now, if the child continues, begins to, if up till then the child was saying, my legs are one good, my legs are deformed. That's what it, as God, see the situation as neutral. They came to Jesus. Who did sin that this man was born blind? Jesus said, people don't get the mystery of being gods. He says, neither this man nor his parents. Look at the situation as it is and decide what you want from it. You decide to write it, decide to what you are a God. Now, it's frightening when you begin to take out these programs. These programs automatic, what you expect from life. It's already, look, there is this Steve Zaffron, the 3 laws of performance. Say you are working in a company, and in the company you are working, say you have already unconsciously written your future. 3 laws of performance. He says, we are always being that from which we are always being in the moment what we are seeing in the future. If you think that the managing director is never for you, he said you will never exhibit the behaviors of a managing director. If you think that I am an immigrant and a foreigner, they don't promote us more than this. The best you can behave in your performance is that place, that level to which you say immigrants don't cross. But all of these are programs that are working in us. In different human beings, all of these programs manifest in different ways. When you begin to subtly see these programs, it looks like Tracy God is almost there. You can't delete them. We just think there is a formula to just delete. I delete all the programs that have been running it. Okay, what Jesus came to show us what it means to live without any program. What it means to live without any program. We'll stop here today. We'll continue next week. Thank you very much for showing up. I hope you got something out of today's class.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.